death of Dynamite. Perhaps the most succinct way of putting it came from Julie Hart. Really, he was the best wrestler there ever was. And as great as he was as a wrestler, he was every bit as miserable of a human being. Pain pills, steroids, freakish physiques, confined to a wheelchair, miserable human being. Between steroids and training, he gassed himself up, but he'd fly around the ring, taking bigger bumps. Tom Billington sacrificed his body like few in wrestling. He garnered injuries that led to heavy use of pain pills, gorging himself with steroids to the point he had one of the most freakish physiques in the era of physiques. He injured his back so badly, just after his 28th birthday, that he was never the same. His body was so shot that his career was over one day after his 33rd birthday. Confined to a wheelchair before he was 40, while his matches stood the test of time. He was largely forgotten, a recluse in England, not wanting to see hardly anyone or be seen. Whatever news would come out about him was never good. Health problems, whether it be hospitalizations, seizures, part of his leg being amputated, a stroke in 2013, and heart problems on his 60th birthday. He passed away. Between steroids and training, he gassed himself up, but he'd fly around the ring, taking bigger bumps. One can't separate the magic he could do inside the ropes, the sadistic behavior outside of them. He created a reign of terror and stampede in WWF, whether getting into fights himself or setting up others to fight for his amusement. Practical jokes that were sometimes amusing, but often cruel. Pain pills, steroids, freakish physiques, confined to a wheelchair, miserable human being. It was in Calgary that Dynamite first discovered drugs. He discovered steroids from Sylvester, Big Daddy Ritter, who could talk great but not wrestle a lick, who later became a huge star as the Junkyard Dog. He discovered speed from a second-generation wrestler breaking in, Jake Roberts. Pain pills, steroids, freakish physiques, confined to a wheelchair, miserable human being. Between steroids and training, he gassed himself up, but he'd fly around the ring, taking bigger bumps. In late 1984, Stu Hart sold Stampede Wrestling to Vince McMahon as part of the deal. McMahon had to hire his son Brett, son-in-laws Jim Neidhart and Davey Boy Smith, as well as Dynamite and Davey, who were not yet called the British Bulldogs, were impressive. But it wasn't like Vince McMahon had any plans for them. And it didn't matter, because at the same time they got a big offer from All Japan to become a regular tag team. So they quit the WWE. McMahon had a change of heart, told them he would bring them in, call them the British Bulldogs, and give them a big push. They were considered the company's best tag team for a few years, winning the titles from Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake at the second WrestleMania. But Dynamite suffered a back injury at the end of 1996 that really should have ended his career. He recovered well enough to still be a good wrestler, but wrestling was a bad idea, as the damage he did by continually wrestling destroyed his body. Really, he was the best wrestler there ever was. And as great as he was as a wrestler, he was every bit as miserable of a human being.